Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining the conversation today. I know that this particular topic can often be a challenging one, Alana, for many of our betrayed partners and confusing. So hopefully today we can clarify the difference and help you understand what support really looks like versus maybe enabling. I know that a lot of betrayed partners are trying to figure out what that looks like in their life. We can cross over that line unknowingly. I know my clients really want to know this for themselves. They don't want to get involved because I think everyone is catching on for the most part to this idea of like, okay, they do need to do their own work. And I don't want to get in the way because I want them to figure it out because I want this to be done and over with. But I think there's a level of understanding that is shifting in that regard. However, I think we still cross over that line, so to speak, because of course you want your partner to heal. You want to see them heal. You want to believe that change is possible. And I think most partners really want to be supportive and offer that support where they can. And on the other hand, I think Alana, you and I see a lot of our partners exhausted, carrying more of that emotional weight than they need to be or really is required, managing the addict's recovery in ways that they might not see that they're actually managing it. And then, like our title today, probably feeling like the parent rather than the partner. And that's where I think if you're at that place, if you feel like you're the parent more than the partner, I just did an episode on betrayal red flags. This would be a red flag if you're relating to that statement right there. So today, we're going to offer a couple thoughts around this and help you perhaps navigate out of that parent role and into more supportive partner.
I am going to speak today from like the queen of experience, doing it wrong. I have all the educational knowledge, and man, oh man, I have a built-in fixer in me that still to this day, I have to acknowledge this part that really wants to just jump in and like, I know what to do and let me show you how to do it and let me just drag you along. Like, I have a really strong fixer. How problematic that is for relationships, how problematic that is for the other person because they don't get the opportunity to grow. They don't get the opportunity to actually learn for themselves what they need and what they want. And then I don't get the opportunity to see what's reality. I want to start with almost every single partner I've worked with at some level starts with that question in their heart of how do I support? And it comes from truly a really good place.
Yeah.
I care about this person. I want them to be successful. I don't want us to grow further apart. How do I support? That question comes up a lot. And often in that question is these fear-based parts of what if I'm not the one leading this? What if they're not doing the work? What if I'm not reminding them? And
It's just coming from that unsafe place. So we have I want to help, but there's also, you're feeling a lot of uncertainty and not safe too.
Well, and I'm saying right? So these are like different parts. So if we're looking at parts work, there's a part that has some really genuine good desires. There's a part that has a lot of fears and insecurities. There's a part that's wired into every single human of wanting to control situations because when we feel in control, we feel safe and secure.
Mm-hmm.
So there's multiple parts activated in this, which I want you to start with. This is the reason why this is so hard is if you listen to this and you hear all of our little steps and all of our tips and you're like, yeah, but this is hard. I know it's hard because we have multiple parts that are activated in this that make us want to jump in and control or fix or do the work for them or drag them along.
Which is why I think number one in how do we navigate through this is acknowledge those feelings, acknowledge that this is hard, acknowledge, like you said, the fixer part. If you have that part, acknowledge it without shame, without blame, right? Just like, yeah, I have that part and it's being massively activated right now. This is hard. It's sad. I feel grief. I think just acknowledging and being aware of what's coming up, maybe even just as you listen to this episode is where you would start.
Yeah.
And seek support. If you are not getting support, your own individual support to help you support, like that, we could probably just end the episode of like, here you are wanting to support your partner and you're not going to get support. Like, that's not going to work. So you've got to be able to get your own support where someone can see what your parts are doing and what your human brain is doing to help you and support you. And you will, the way that I look at this is like I'm holding my hand if you're seeing me on YouTube, like this anchor, like maybe to a bridge even. And you've got to be anchored in to the ground so tightly in your own support. Because if you have someone that is leaning on you for support right now in their addiction and you're not tightly anchored in, you're going to fall over. You can get that deeper anchoring when you have someone that is more neutral to be able to see things that you can't see, not because you're not capable, but we all can't see into our own human brains, certain pieces. If you get that support, it will help you to be able to support your loved one in such a greater way, stronger way.
Yeah, because your support person ideally has a very regulated nervous system that even at a biological, physiological level, when you go meet with them and you're dysregulated around all of these things that are coming up, they can stay anchored and stay regulated, which then speaks to your body and your nervous system that says, it's okay, you can start to calm down. But when we're trying to use our partner as our anchor and they're dysregulated, now we have two dysregulated people who are trying to get regulation in and of each other. And our bodies are feeling the other person's nervous systems, whether you want to or not. It is just this exchange of energy that is happening.
Yeah.
One other thing with finding a professional is you really should have a feeling, a sense within the first like 3 sessions that this is the right fit. If you don't, I know the process, and this is what stops a lot of people from getting help, is they go, I've tried, it doesn't work, or I've tried and it's too hard to find the right person. And I will say, like, when somebody comes to me and they're like, Alana, I've been through like 5 different therapists, the first thing that goes through my head is you are a tenacious, resilient beast because you keep going until you find that right person. And that says so much about you. Don't give up. Keep trying until you find that right fit, because 80% of your work, they've done research on this. I want to say it's 82%. 82% of the work is how safe you feel and the therapeutic alliance that you have.
Yeah. And I'm going to add to that. It also is important. And you and I have both seen over and over multiple clients that have come from professionals that are great, but do not have a betrayal trauma addiction background or specialty. That really makes a difference. So that is also important when you're looking for a support system. But you said something that made me think, oh, this is how I see a lot of my partners play the role of parent, is in finding support for the partner and their thoughts about the kind of support or right or wrong support about the partner. Can you speak to that right there? Because this is where I think,
yeah, this is
I
a
know,
tricky
right?
one.
This is so
Like,
tricky.
my brain's going 2 different directions because, like, on one hand, there are things like if you have somebody working with your significant other and they aren't betrayal trauma sensitive, that can feel like these personal attacks are happening. And so often partners want to make requests of being with someone who is not going to injure the relationship or injure the partner, injure you further. And it is really important that the person who has acted outside of their values is the one who is doing this work where they are going and they're putting in the effort and they are choosing to take those action steps and they are taking the discomfort of reaching out and seeing if it's the right fit and researching people. Because what that does is that puts their brain in a state of action, in a state of movement, in a state of change.
Ready for change.
Exactly. So when they are the person doing that, those action steps also start creating that forward momentum.
Yeah.
If you are doing it for them, there's certain growth that they will miss by you taking that away from them.
Okay, so I'm going to play the role of what I hear. Okay, but Alana, he might not know that. He might not know that there needs to be someone that is betrayal partner sensitive, and he might not know that there are people out there that are specifically, meant to help him. What if he is with the wrong person? Can I not just inform him?
Well, and here's the thing is you absolutely can make requests. You can say, look, it is really important to me that you're with somebody who is betrayal trauma sensitive and you're with somebody who is trained to treat what you're dealing with. Those things are really important to me. Now, in that umbrella, there are thousands of professionals who do this. So they can go choose who those professionals are and they can sort through that. I see women or individuals swing really far over of like, oh, I don't get to have a say. Now I just have to be quiet and let's just cross my fingers and hope. We're not moving into a passive, you have voice, you have no say. You absolutely can have requests and those become part of these are the things that I really would like to see.
Yeah.
And we are still handing them their own choice and their own power to then choose what they want to do with those requests and that information. And what they choose to do or not do is information for you.
It really is, which kind of leads into the next one around boundaries. And so this can be, like you're saying, a request that you make. As you stay in your space, you are gathering more information, protecting your emotional, mental, physical space to be able to watch the reality of that. So it is tricky. We're not saying one or the other. Please watch your brain and notice if your brain is doing the one or the other. I think there's a beautiful relational space here that you still get to take up by making that request. Because, in all honesty, what I see oftentimes is my partners start to get educated, right? I mean, I'm educating them. I'm like, well, this. And my partners are like, oh my gosh, that feels so true to me. I want my partner to know that. That makes sense. Of course, you would want your partner to know that. So then we walk through how to communicate that information, but from the other side of the street, rather than getting on their partner's side of the street, making the phone calls for the partner, setting up the appointments. Like that's, I think, what we're talking about here, y'all, in terms of being the parent and like managing the appointments for them. I had one client years ago literally got their partner's schedule out and was like looking through his schedule. Well, you can meet with this CSAT on this day and this day and this day, like sitting down with her partner and managing his schedule to make those appointments. Like that's what we're talking about in terms of probably on the parent side there.
It's funny because
Go ahead.
I can see, I'll just say an earlier version of Alana going, okay, but he is so busy and his schedule is so intense that honestly, it's not that big of a deal. It's just me being helpful.
Or he has ADD and he can't figure this out for himself.
And the truth is, if he really wants to do something that's important to him, he can move like anything, like mountains move if it's really important to him. And all of a sudden, the busy schedule, we find that 15-minute window to make that phone call to get it organized. So I just yes, just because you can does not mean you should. And again, it takes away important pieces in their own healing journey. And coming back to boundaries, again, are not, here's the list of things you're going to do that keep me safe. Boundaries are yours of this is what I need in my life to feel safe and respected. I'm going to let you know where I'm at. And then you, as an autonomous adult who makes choices as an adult, gets to choose whether you want to honor those boundaries, whether you want to offer that safety and respect me. And the reality is they don't have to. If they're doing it because you're telling them to or making them, that may offer temporary relief, but that is not a long-term fix.
No, it's not. That looks maybe something like you going, gosh, this feels really right to me that my partner works with someone that is betrayed partner sensitive, or that works with someone that's willing to do a full therapeutic disclosure and knows how to do it the right way, or this is really important to me. Whatever those things are important to you, communicating that and saying, now what you do with that is on you, but I am watching your feet. Then you walk back over to your side of the street and you watch. When you do this and you are anchored like that, what I was saying earlier, and you work on you with your support person in how anchoring and tighter to your own sense of self looks, you will be able to see the reality of the feet, moving or not. You will be able to better process and handle the emotions that come with that, especially if it's not moving in the direction that you hope or want.
With the watching the feet, I just want to speak to, in my experience, the person who has been protecting their secrecy for many years often have a skill set in using the right words to hear what you want to hear. And as a partner who has been betrayed, and as a partner who so badly wants those words to be true, it's really easy to be pulled into that betrayal blindness again. So just recognizing when I hear words, notice a part of me that wants to believe that, and let's bring in reality of, and now I hear the words, but let's see if the feet follow. Let's see if those actions and behaviors follow with them leading that healing process.
Yeah. So supporting would be not micromanaging or rescuing. Support is them taking responsibility for their actions and it's their issue. So maybe asking yourself a question, am I stepping into the role that they should be holding for themselves?
Mhm.
It's a great question to ask yourself. Am I stepping into the role that they should be holding and handling themselves?
And on that is, am I discounting my own boundaries to make it easier for you? Or am I self-sacrificing my own healing to make sure your healing work is being done? We're going to take a really fast break and tell you about some of the things coming up at Choose.
Hi, my name is Hallie Roderick with Choose Recovery Services. And if you're a woman healing from betrayal trauma and you find yourself feeling stuck or experiencing overwhelming triggers, having a difficult time trusting yourself, or even thinking about trusting others, or having a hard time understanding what healthy boundaries are, how to hold those, I want to invite you to consider joining us at our upcoming Courage to Thrive Intensive, held on April 23rd through 26th in Spanish Fork, Utah. These intensives are one of my favorite things to be a part of because healing happens in community. There's just something different that happens when you're in person with other women who maybe your stories aren't exactly the same, but there's a mutual understanding and a safety that is created by being in a common community. So if this sounds like something that would be beneficial to you, please check the show notes, reach out to our office to get more information, and come see us in Utah on April 23rd through 26th. We'd love to have you join us.
Okay, and now back to the episode. My brain is going to, partners are going to go like, well, then how can I help? How can I support? And I heard an analogy years ago, and it was this analogy of this couple is in an airplane and they're going through I don't know why my brain can't think of the word, wilderness. My brain kept going wild. And I'm like, wild, that's not right. Wilderness. They're going through the wilderness in a small airplane. There's pilot and their plane crashes. And they look over and the pilot's dead. And I'm sorry, trigger warning. Sorry if someone has lost someone in a plane crash. Probably should have started that with that. But they're both extremely injured. And neither of them can do it for each other. They can't help each other. They can't, like, one can't drag the other person through. They both have to get out of that wilderness to where they can get to some civilization and get the help that they need. And so you're crawling through this forest or through the wilderness, and you can look over and you can talk to each other. You can support each other. You can notice each other's injuries, but we can't heal each other. We can't fix each other. So you can still do this process together. And so many times I see both partners who have healing work that needs to be done that's very different, but also very similar. And when I have couples who are both fully engaged in the work, this process of talking about and learning together and growing together and healing together separately, but together can be such a beautiful process. But what we can't do is, here is my betrayed partner who has two broken legs, and she's trying to get to out of the wilderness, but the whole time she's got her arm hooked around his neck and she's dragging him when he needs to be doing his own army crawling. She needs to be doing hers so we can both get to where we need to go.
As you're saying that analogy, this is where I love it. I actually love the analogy. And there is a difference. And just the visual of what you're describing, here's what I often see, Alana, is that you're describing this crash and you're describing a woman who has 2 broken legs and who is trying to survive and carry this person with her. It's not possible. But right before that, you said it's beautiful when 2 partners are doing their own work and getting out of that tough terrain together, supporting each other. It's a different visual that you just gave my brain. And that's what I often see with my couples and clients who are trying so desperately to do the work for the partner and play the role of the parent, however you want to describe it. It's not possible. And they are literally like navigating with 2 broken legs.
Well, but
Level of intensity is just harder, right? Like it's painful.
Your brain thinks it's possible because you make an inch and then you make an inch.
Yeah.
And so you make like this like 10 inches and you're like, but we're making progress.
Right.
Okay, technically, yes. But this 10 inches we made, we could have made 10 feet in that time if we were both doing our own work.
Well, and at what cost? I think this is where I'm jumbling around to get to the point that I'm seeing, because I can see it in my head first before it comes out of my mouth eloquently. It's the suffering, and it's at your own cost doing it this way. What does that look like? You're losing your sense of self. Maybe you're not doing things you enjoy anymore. Maybe you're not finding meaning in your own life anymore. Maybe you don't even see who you are. Maybe you don't even know who you are anymore. Like, at what cost? Versus the other image that you gave of, yeah, this sucks that our plane crashed and we're in the middle of nowhere. And yet together we're looking out for the next place that we can find water. And then I'm like going, hey, I think there's water over there. Maybe we can both drink our own water out of the creek. That is a different experience rather than this suffering experience. So like real time every day, what does this look like? I'm seeing betrayed partners who are truly losing themselves, who don't know how to make it through the day, who are so dysregulated and are desperately hanging on to their partner and that little movement, like you said, as all hope, but they're not seeing that their legs are broken and they aren't even attending to the bandages, to the cast. Like they're not getting help. You're not going to make it out. You just won't make it out that way. That's, I think, the difference that we're talking about. So I don't know. I love that analogy. My brain just went, oh my gosh, yes, because I see both trying to survive that plane crash, just drastically different experience.
Yeah. And so staying connected to your own autonomy. And there can be challenges in that. Like if you have spent years being a fixer, or you grew up in an enmeshed family, or you have an anxious attachment that's been exasperated through this betrayal, those are deeper elements that you would definitely want to do some therapeutic work around to help you be able to do what we're talking about. Because for some people, you'll be able to hear this and be like, okay, yeah, like I'm going to start doing that. And you might be able to just start doing that. For some of you, you might be hearing this right now and this feels big and impossible. There might be some blocks that therapeutically, then you want to go in, do some work around so we can remove those blocks so you can do this.
Yeah. That block just might be a shift of, I'm not enough for them to do the work, to wait a second, I am enough and I am more than enough. Just a huge shift. I was going to say simple, but I think that's a really big, beautiful, huge shift that you might not be able to make on your own. So yeah, getting your own support with that matters as well. And then giving yourself permission to reevaluate along the way, which again, going to your analogy, you can't evaluate and assess if you are literally dragging yourself along with 2 broken legs and this person alongside you. So when you're doing your own individual work and not trying to be their parent, not micromanage their side, you're able to reevaluate along the way, which that's necessary. Just giving yourself permission to take time to evaluate, to watch, because like you've heard us say so many dang times, all of this repair is consistency over time. So you have to be able to reevaluate along the way. Just makes sense.
And we're not saying perfection over time,
No.
right? You're going to mess it up and do it wrong. They're going to mess it up and do it wrong, but we're going to stay consistent in that moving forward, stay consistent in trying, stay consistent in the work. And then as part of your reevaluating, just some questions you can ask yourself. And that is, do I feel safe? And just exploring that. Am I continuing to honor my boundaries? Not is he honoring my boundaries or are they honoring my boundaries, but really, am I honoring my own boundaries? Because boundaries are ours, right? And then just looking at, do I feel supported or am I just drained?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not all of a sudden, hey, significant other, here's all the ways you have to support me, but really looking at, is the support coming? And how am I supporting myself? How am I supporting my healing? How am I bringing in support people? And also noticing what level of support we're getting from our partner. And then looking at same thing with our level of how drained we are.
That word drained that you just used, if that's resonating with you, if you feel drained, you're probably over functioning without even recognizing it. And you can care about your partner without carrying them. And you can love your partner without losing yourself.
Side note, overfunctioning is often a trauma response. And I'm pretty sure we did an episode on overfunctioning.
Yes.
So
I know you all want to care. You can do that without carrying them along the way. I know you love your partner, and many of you are still hoping that it works out. You can love them without losing yourself.
Mm-hmm. I want to just leave that for a sec. Like, I know that the spaces will probably get taken out, but that you can love them and you can care about them and still prioritize your own healing. And that is a form of loving them and letting them be able to do their work and letting them be able to heal or not, which is scary and hard, but you can hold compassion. You can support them and love them while taking care of you.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel like I just want to say, like, with this episode, some of them are just going to bring up more questions than others. I feel like this one might be one that you're like, okay, but. So write down, like, notice where your brain has resistance. Notice where those, like, okay, but. Write those down, start processing them, start journaling them, take them into your professional, do some work around them, because those will give you answers to what you need to know. So don't throw them away. Use those as a springboard for more curiosity and understanding.
Yeah. I love it.
As always, thanks for hanging out with us this week, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.
I'm very excited to tell you about the Unmasked intensive we have coming up in May. It's May 13th through the 16th in Spanish Fork, Utah. The name of the intensive is Unmasked Paths to Authentic Masculinity. Let me tell you some of the things we're going to accomplish. We're going to explore some root causes, like at the end of the day, what's underneath this behavior? What's the why behind it? What's the insights into understanding why my behavior existed, the one that kept me in secrecy and hiding? We're going to embrace vulnerability. So we're going to confront a lot of the struggles of that non-judgmental space so you can foster more authentic connections with the people that you love. We're going to realign with your values. We're going to learn new coping strategies, and we're going to forge some authentic connection. We're going to build a lot of camaraderie to hear that happens. I wanted to share with you what previous participants have said about this transformation. So here's what one guy said. I'm just going to read it to you. I loved the connection with those around me. It was eye-opening to learn how to open up and show love for myself and be okay with what's going on inside of me, no matter how hard or ugly I may see it. I specifically remember this man saying this and just being astounded by, like, wow, if I'm around people that really open up, what can I explore and learn about myself in this intensive? He found it to be really eye-opening. So anyway, for more information and reserve your spot, go ahead and visit our website and we'll provide some information for you. And then take the time to invest in yourself so you can start to lean in a more authentic way in your life. Looking forward to seeing you there.